Hey guys, Top Tier Gaming here, and today we are coming at you with another discussion video about how the course of history in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has changed from more generic support to more archetypal support. There's still generic support, but it's just shifted in a way that archetype support and generic support sort of compete, and we're always kind of striving for generic support because there's so much creativity you can do with that. But we've been talking for years about how Konami is hindering creativity in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Nowadays, it's like when a generic support card comes along, it's a really big meta call. Yeah. It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like Vanity's Infinite was a big one out of nowhere.
Right.
It's just generic card that floodgated the meta.
Yeah.
It's cards like that. Decks are some of the most successful decks in history were built around generic support cards like Debris Dragon with the Plant Synchros, the Dandelion, all of that. The engines, splashable engines, are usually generic cards.
Yeah.
But nowadays, we're more into an archetypal based deck where your
Stratos.
You have to go here with this deck. You have to play these cards.
Yeah.
But they have similar effects to generic cards that they either banned or limited a long time ago.
So back then, we're gonna start, I guess, around 2009 is where I kind of want to start, because before that, I think we mostly had generic support, with Go.
Oh, definitely.
It was all generic.
Teledad was all generic.
Right. That's where I want to start. Right there is there are a lot of good generic cards in Teledad, and it wasn't an archetype. So Konami didn't make Teledad. We made Teledad, and it was one of the most successful decks of all time, still having the most big tournament wins of any deck ever.
And at the time, this is a really good era to talk about, because at the time there were two other decks that were very much competitive, but they were also archetypal.
Yeah, Light Sworns.
You got the Light Sworns and the Gladiator Beast.
But zombies were also really high up there.
Yeah,
and
those are generic.
Yeah, those are generic.
They're not archetype.
Right. And a big card I think we should talk about is Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness was a generic support for Dark. It wasn't completely generic for every attribute, but Dark's got a huge boost in the Phantom Darkness, and Allure was one of the biggest things. And decks sort of came up with their own Allure of Darkness, like Black Wings. They got
Black Feathers.
Right. And there's draw cards for all sorts of decks now, and they all look kind of like Destiny Draw or Allure of Darkness.
And looking into the future, next set, the TCG exclusives, we get the Subterra archetype. And there's a monster in there that says when it flips, you discard something. I can't remember if it's a Subterra card or whatever. It'd be you draw two. I think it set itself. Each deck's getting their own draws, similar to other cards in the past.
Right. And another big card for Teledad was Emergency Teleport. So this card is also considered a generic card, because even though it's only for psychics, it's for any psychic level 3 or lower. It's not a certain archetype. It doesn't say so if someone one level 3 or lower Gusto psychic type monster, that would be an archetype support card. But Emergency Teleport just works for any psychic, and it really made Teledad its own deck with being able to use Krebins for Malicious and create Stardusts and other big synchros.
Oh, it's come in and out of history. We've had it in Dad, we've had it in Cosmo as of late.
Exactly.
We've had it in many other inventive decks, like the Peaceful. I think the Peaceful deck ran it, didn't it?
Yeah. And probably. But because it's generic, it's never going to be bad.
Yeah, it's never
any deck that comes out psychic, Emergency Teleport's probably a really good card. It's going to see itself on the list for probably a while because of how strong of a card it really is.
Cards go in and out of popularity depending on what's happening. Certain trends. Valor's not really that big right now, but it will be again. We know that because of how the card is.
So another big card we want to talk about that is going to see a huge amount of play is Transmodify. So this card is probably, in my opinion, one of the best generic supports we've gotten. We got it a long time ago, but it's sort of coming into relevancy.
People don't really think about it either.
Right. It probably,
especially when you made your PK deck. Who would think it would come in and make a Dark Law out of two cards?
In PK Hero, it was a really cool thing that I found Transmodify and decided it could probably work in something, because it turned out being great. But I know a lot of people tried it with Burning Abyss and Infernities, which is a really interesting thing too.
As of late, Transmodify in a couple weeks from now is going to be the ABC deck.
Yeah, that's going to be super strong.
A very strong deck, because you can Transmodify straight to a Galaxy Soldier and start making your Shadow Dragon Infinity plays. And
when you mix that with the Karakuri engine, it's just super strong.
It puts your ABC monsters in the graveyard, so you can start banishing them for ABC Dragon summon conditions.
Yeah, Transmodify we think is one of the better generic support cards in a long time.
Oh yeah. Some more cards in new archetypes that we see that have close relatives to cards that are either generic or long forgotten, or this one's banned. Probably not Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is banned, but their cards like it. Like Yang Zings have the Yang Zing path, which push back the Yang Zings in the deck and you draw 2 cards. Generic support is sometimes too good.
Right.
Because it's generic, but it's in the name. You can use it in every deck, which in some decks it's a lot more broken than other decks.
And that's what makes generic support so strong. But like Archtype cards, their card texts are sometimes even more broken than the generic supports because they're only for that Archtype.
Yep.
Like Yang Zing Path, it only has to send 3. Like that's pretty much a benefit because you don't have to wait as long to use it.
Like Stratos is a big thing. Like he not only can he search a hero monster, is if you already have a field of heroes and he's summoned for any reason, you're basically getting a Harpy Feather Duster if you have that many heroes on the field.
Right. And like Fiendish Chain was a really strong card for a long time. It's actually something we forgot in our price jump video.
Yeah, we should have.
Because that was
I think it reached $40 for a super.
It was hugely expensive. But Phantom Knights actually got their own Fiendish Chain. And it's searchable. Like, it's Fiendish Chain, but better.
Yep.
Like, it has a small downside of it can't be attacked, but sometimes people use it to their advantage anyways. It's going to get break sorted off. It's just a stronger Fiendish Chain because it's for an Archetype, but not every deck can use it. So it's like, Archetype support turns out to be stronger, but since more decks can't use it, it's like not as strong in the same way.
After the deck loses popularity, it becomes a little niche card. Like Satellar Nova, Satellos.
Right. Like,
their cards are really good. Like, the Nebula Stratos, and Uncle High is a Foolish Burial, Altair is a Debris Dragon. They all have similarities in the generic cards.
Generic
Sirius is a Pot of Avarice. They have their own Avarice, but in monster form. Generic
cards get their, like, re-innovations for archetypes. Like, Debris Dragon probably has so many recreations, like Blizzard.
Definitely.
Bogart Knight got done a lot. He's not generic, but I don't think they could actually... Oh, Marauding Captain is the generic Bogart Knight. Yeah, Marauding Captain has a lot of recreations.
Goblin Bird. Like a lot of things.
Like, there's new generic Debris Dragons though too, like Mass Chameleon. It's generic because it's not archetype specific, but it does require like level 0 or 0 defense to be used. Like
cards like Summoner Monk being generic, they're really good. Like Summoner Monk and Rescue Rabbit draw parallels to each other. But do we have an archetypal version of those cards? Summoner Monk and
Summoner Monk? I don't believe so. Probably. Oh wait, the Gold Ninja.
Yeah.
Gold Ninja does.
If you can think of any more parallels to that card, just comment in the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both have their place in the game. It's just I think generic support is the support I like more. I like seeing it's more innovative because you don't have to
get to be creative. That was the best thing about making PK Hero is I felt like I was being creative.
You don't have to stick to a certain archetype with generic cards. You can go and play it wherever you want. Sometimes, like Aaron said, sometimes these archetypal cards are way better in their deck than others, and they're supposed to be. That's the way they were designed by Konami. But if we take away anything from this, just remember that don't overlook generic support when it comes out. If you're focused in on the archetypal support, you may miss a few things. Like last set, there was that level 4 wind monster that you can discard and add a flip effect monster from your deck to your hand. That card may be very good with a Subterror deck because they're all flips. All of those monsters are flips. You can just discard and search one from the deck.
Yep.
Like it's one of those things you have to think about.
So this was the generic versus archetype support video. Hope you enjoyed. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So leave what you think of generic support or archetype support down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Like this video. This was Top Tier Gaming. Bye YouTube.